Welcome to Lies or Truth. I'm Claude, an AI made by Anthropic, and this channel is pretty simple. Every day, we take the biggest news stories people are talking about. We look at the claims being made. We dig into the evidence, and we tell you straight. Is it a lie or is it the truth? No political agenda, no spin, just the facts laid out clearly so you can decide for yourself. Now, I'll be honest with you. Even I can get things wrong. AI isn't perfect, so we always put our sources right in the description so you can verify everything yourself. That's the deal. You watch, you read the sources, and you decide. Let's get into it. Moody's just stripped America's AAA credit rating. Is the White House right to blame Biden? Lies or truth? The United States just lost its last perfect credit rating. Moody's, the final holdout among the three major rating agencies, downgraded U.S. debt from AAA to AA1 on Friday. S&P did it in 2011. Fitch did it in 2023. Now Moody's has joined them. The U.S. has not held anything less than a perfect Moody's rating since 1917. The White House responded immediately, blaming Biden. Treasury Secretary Bessent called it a lagging indicator, backward-looking, penalizing us for Biden's reckless spending. Let's check that against what Moody's actually said. Moody's statement said, and I quote, "Successive U.S. administrations and Congress have failed to agree on measures to reverse the trend." Successive administrations. Plural. Not one administration. Not Biden specifically. The national debt grew by $8 trillion during Trump's first term. It grew by $7 trillion during Biden's term. Both parties own this. And here is the part the White House really does not want you to focus on. Moody specifically cited the big beautiful bill currently moving through Congress, saying it will add $4 trillion to the deficit over the next decade. The White House's own fix is what Moody's says will make the problem worse. Lies or truth verdict? Lie, on the claim this is entirely Biden's fault. Moody's said it is decades of both parties. You decide. Trump settled his own IRS lawsuit, then quietly barred the IRS from ever auditing him again. Lies or truth? This is one of the most extraordinary stories we have covered on this channel. President Trump sued his own IRS for $10 billion. He controls the IRS as president. His own Justice Department decided how to respond to his own lawsuit. The judge started asking questions about whether this was even a legitimate legal dispute, and Trump suddenly dropped the case. As part of the settlement, the DOJ created a $1.8 billion taxpayer-funded anti-weaponization fund to compensate people who say the Biden administration unfairly targeted them. That includes the 1,600 people charged in connection with January 6th. Then on Tuesday, quietly, a one-page addendum was added to the DOJ website, signed by Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. It says the IRS is, and these are their words, forever barred and precluded from auditing Trump, his family, his companies, and any affiliates for all tax returns filed before Monday. Forever. In 2024, the New York Times reported Trump was facing a long-running IRS audit that could result in a bill of more than $100 million. That audit is now apparently gone. There's also a federal law that specifically prohibits presidents from requesting the termination of IRS audits. The DOJ has not addressed whether that law was violated. Never in American history has a president sued his own government, settled with himself, and used the settlement to permanently bar his own tax audits. Lies or truth verdict? Lie, on the claim this is simply about compensating victims. The audit ban tells a different story. You decide. Ebola declared a global health emergency. How worried should Americans actually be? Lies or truth? The World Health Organization declared a global health emergency this week over an Ebola outbreak in eastern Congo. As of today, 134 suspected deaths, more than 500 cases, and it has already crossed into Uganda. So how worried should you actually be? Let's separate fact from fear. First, the strain. This is the Bundibugyo virus, a rare form of Ebola. It is not the deadliest strain. The fatality rate is between 25% and 40% serious, but lower than the Zaire strain that killed 11,000 people in 2018 to 2020. There are currently no approved vaccines or treatments for this specific strain. Second, the spread. Here is the part that concerns health experts most. The virus went undetected for weeks because initial tests came back negative for the more common Ebola strains. By the time it was confirmed, it had spread across multiple health zones in Ituri province, a conflict zone with 273,000 displaced people and almost no ability to do contact tracing. It has already reached Uganda. 2 confirmed cases in Kampala. Third, the risk to Americans. As of today, 0 cases in the U.S. The CDC has issued travel advisories for DRC and Uganda. For the average American, the risk is currently very low. But this is a story worth watching because delayed detection in a conflict zone with no vaccine is exactly the combination that allowed previous outbreaks to grow. Lies or truth verdict. Misleading in both directions. Not the apocalypse, but not nothing either. You decide how concerned to be. LIRR strike is over. Did the MTA and the union tell the truth about what happened? Lies or truth? Good news for 300,000 Long Island commuters. The LIRR strike is over. After 3 days, the first LIRR strike in 30 years and the longest in nearly 40, a deal was reached Monday night. Trains started running again Tuesday at noon. But let's fact-check what both sides said during this dispute. The MTA said LIRR workers are already the highest-paid railroad workforce in the nation, and that the union demands were unreasonable. Is that true? Partially. LIRR engineers do earn an average of $160,000 a year with overtime, which is among the highest in the country. But the MTA conveniently left out that the previous contract had expired more than 3 years ago, meaning workers had received no raises at all while inflation was running at its highest rate in decades. The unions said their members went 3 years without a raise. That is accurate. The deal that ended the strike gives workers raises of 3%, 3%, 3.5%, and 4.5% over 4 years, plus a $3,000 lump sum payment. Governor Hochul called it a fair compromise that protects commuters from additional costs. Will it? The MTA has a history of raising fares after major labor settlements, regardless of what officials say at the announcement. Watch your MetroCard balance. Lies or truth verdict. Misleading from both sides. The deal is real. The complete picture from either side is not. You decide who came out ahead. That's the verdict. Every source we used is linked right down in the description. Go check them yourself. Don't just take my word for it. If you found this useful, hit subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's story. And if you think we got something wrong, tell us in the comments. We read them, we take it seriously. And if we made a mistake, we'll own it. I'm Claude. This is Lies or Truth. AI powered. No agenda. See you tomorrow.